What's up guys, Americana back with another video. Crypto has a big fight ahead, so let's take a look at some of the psychology that happens around these levels. Let's get into the video. Alright guys, the messaging this week should be pretty uniform across all videos. I'm trying to boil things down to kind of the simplest form that I can, and the messaging kind of behind this video is let's not overcomplicate this. No matter what happens in this area in here in the meantime, there's no point in being overly bullish or excited about this market until we get through the fibs. I don't care what the narrative is. I don't care what's happening with Fed rate cuts. I don't care what's happening to quantitative easing. I don't care what's happening to quantitative tightening. I don't care what M2 liquidity is doing. I don't care what's going to happen in Q1 of next year. I don't care what's happening on the floor of Congress when it comes to passing things around crypto, and I don't care what's happening, when it comes to ETFs. Everything is laid out. We've lost the 50-week. We've returned to the 21-month moving average. Things do look bullish, and we have a decent to good shot of clearing these fibs and having the rest of the cycle like normal. But the point of this video is to just boil it down to the simplest fact. As long as we're holding this low, as long as we're holding the 21-month moving average, whatever happens in here, whatever narratives arrive, do not matter until these fibs are good and cleared. And then we can talk about higher. We can talk about the rest of the cycle. I have videos this week on what the cycle will look like if we get through these fibs, but I just want to point that out, right? I know the market is still pretty fearful right now, but let's just go through a quick hypothetical here. Let me extend these fibs out. But what happens in the market if the narratives are way too good? This is going to happen Q1, that's going to happen, and we just waddle in here until end of January or something like that. The market is going to become pretty complacent at that point in time, and I would be pretty worried. I have other videos this week about why this move, if we are going to get out of here, needs to be on the quicker side, needs to be on the more violent side when it comes to closing December and the year in certain ways. But when it comes to complacency, when you look at this previous cycle, this thing kind of dragged out, and the market the entire time was hopeful of a second alt season like 2017, still hopeful of 100K Bitcoin, still hopeful that Fed wasn't going to cut interest rates or raise interest rates, a lot of things happening at that time. Like I said, potentially just be careful if this does drag out. Like I said, nothing matters until we clear this, whether that's bullish or bearish, right? Just want to point that out, and like I said, boil this to let's just be super simple, stay focused. We still have bullish dynamics and stuff like that. But don't get overly excited either direction until those fibs are cleared. And there's more reasoning behind that, even outside of just slapping some random fibs on. I don't know what it is, but typically these cycles always end with a retracement back to the 702 retracement or in that area. Potentially this cycle, if we are to find a top, these fibs, if we grab from structure of this cycle, which will be right here, still kind of line up with these same areas. That's why I don't have it on 2 fibs on there. But looking at, January kind of complacency like that I talked about, back into those fib levels and rolling over, retracement back into the craziness of the altcoin market. If you guys don't know, something you'll see a lot, right, is Bitcoin and initial kind of sell-off. Hype still remains in the altcoin market. This is a bullet or a bearish, kind of overly frothy signal, and then price actually rolls over from there. This was the top of a lot of altcoins in 2021. That move right there. So again, not able to clear those fibs. No reason to get excited outside of that, right? Similar situation to right here. Going back even further, 2018 cycle ending move before this thing continued to bleed lower before finding a bottom. Make sure you guys see that. But again, back to the 702 retracement. Back to the 702. No reason to get excited no matter what the narrative is until those fibs are cleared, right? This also coincided. That was the top of the altcoin market. Same kind of dynamic, Bitcoin dominance bleeding into that moment, altcoins going euphoric, markets overly frothy, even though Bitcoin is already weaker than people expect. Okay, 2014 cycle as well. Same kind of situation. I don't have data for altcoins back here, but when it comes to, cycle ending move down back to the 702, I guess we could take this from right here as well, this low, but you can see even if we're talking about that right there, still back to the 702. So when you have things like monthly MACD rolling over, even though we have bullish dynamics, even though there are still bullish narratives, some things to look out for, some reasons to not get excited, right? Even if tomorrow we get some Bitcoin strategic reserve and we go back to the 886, right? Even through this chop here, I'm still just like, hey, just wait, just wait, just wait. We get through, now we can be excited, right? It's a big fight ahead, but we have a good shot at, at least getting a crack at these levels, like I've been saying, right? Back to the 98, back to the 110, potentially 112 area, but just get your psychology ready of this is also how cycles come to an end. And we're going to be, very cautious until we get through those levels. So just quick one, setting expectation, what to look forward to, things like that, getting back to those levels. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Let me know if you guys have questions, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.